Pirates are playing at their peak here in St. Louis. They've won the first 2 games of this series. They've had a heck of a road trip, winning 6 in a row, and tonight they'll take on the Cardinals. And welcome into the booth, Joe Block, along with John Wehner, with you here from Busch Stadium. And tonight, can the Pirates keep this thing going? Winning cures all, doesn't it? They've won 6 in a row. Can they make it number 7?
Certainly hope so. They're up against Garcia, who's really pitched well against the Pirates. But the way the Pirates have been going, you mentioned a 6-game winning streak, 5 coming from behind, so you don't have to worry about giving up that first run recently. And look at the ground they've picked up on the Cardinals. Not only the Cardinals at 3.5, but 4.5 on the Cubs.
So a lot of good things happening for the Pirates, and it's not just offense that has been so good this year. The starting pitching has come around quite a bit, but also the bullpen. It has been fantastic so far, especially in the last couple of weeks or so.
Yeah, I think it's key, and I think it's also relevant that the last 6 wins, the Pirates have allowed 3 runs or less. And a lot of it has to do with the bullpen, because the rotation still isn't going very deep in the game. I think it helped that Juan Nicasio went to the bullpen. He really stabilized the middle relief. Caminero has come along. He's been pitching outstanding during this streak as well, and it kind of just sets everything up for the back end with Felice, Watson, Melancon. So yeah, the bullpen is a major factor in this win streak.
Since June 24th, they've allowed 1 run over more than 40 innings, so they've been almost perfect in that time. And it's not just those 5 guys, it's been everybody contributing out of the Pirates bullpen. But of course, things always start with starting pitching, and today the Pirates will send Jeff Locke to the mound, who has been good in his last 3 starts, and we'll tell you about that as we return from St. Louis right after this.
Baseball on Root Sports is brought to you by Allegheny Health Network. Health for all. By Bordas & Bordas, official legal partners of the Pittsburgh Pirates. Visit bordaslaw.com. And by Day Automotive. We're going to make your day. Let's go Bucks!
Back here in St. Louis, and Jeff Locke getting ready to make his start against the Cardinals tonight. And the Pirates have won 7 of his last 9 starts, so he's kept the club in the game. And really lately he has, he's been streaky this year. Lately, he's been pretty good.
Yeah, again, we talked about his last time out. There was 4 starts where he wasn't very good. And outside of that, he's been excellent. He's kept the team in games, leads the team with 8 wins, 5 losses. He's kind of just really changed his style a little bit more, using more of the plate, throwing more sliders, more changeups, and he's been outstanding.
And his mound opponent tonight, Jaime Garcia, who has pitched very well in his career against the Pirates, but not a lot lately.
When he's down in the zone and he gets the late movement, it's kind of similar to Francisco Liriano when he's able to get that sinking fastball, the slider, changeup, darting all over the place, and he keeps it down. He's tough to hit. And as you can see, the Pirates really have struggled against Garcia.
And he's only faced him twice in the last 4 years. Hard to stay healthy for Garcia. He hasn't gone over 20 starts in the last 5 years. And been getting a lot of ground balls for the Cardinals. We'll see how that plays out here tonight. It's Locke versus Garcia. Pirates versus the Cardinals. Game 3 of this 4-game series. Pirates have won the first 2. And we'll take a look at the leadoff men for the Pirates. Coming up next here on Root Sports. In here to Busch Stadium, getting set for tonight's contest. The Pirates and the Cardinals here from St. Louis. And the Pirates with the lefties on the mound. Well, with the righties on the mound, we see John Jaso getting the starts, and he's been the primary leadoff hitter for the Pirates so far this season. And he's been delighting the fans with that. But Jordy Mercer, we see him atop the order against the left-handers, and both have fared very well in those roles.
You know, going into spring training, we didn't think either one of these guys would be batting leadoff. At least I didn't. And then, you know, obviously consistently, Jordy Mercer has gone against lefties at the top of the order. Jaso against right-handers, and look at the job they've done. You know, Mercer 314, Jaso 288. They've hit for extra bases. They've driven in runs. I mean, it's been a nice little duo up there. A nice little find by Clint Hurdle and his staff.
You look at the on-base percentage. Mercer 392, Jaso 367. And look at the some other stuff around baseball. We got a game break with Rob King. Hey, Rob.
Pirates baseball on Root Sports is brought to you by the Chevy Tracks and your Western PA Chevy dealers. And by Barrel. Check out the Barrel Hot List at barrel.com. Now the only way to buy a car. Let's go Bucks!
Pirates looking for another fun night here in St. Louis. They've taken the first 2 games of this series. Pirates riding a 6-game winning streak. These Cardinals have been a bit down as well. They have lost 9 straight games to teams with winning records. And they have another injury today as they're going to be out without their backup catcher Brian Pena. Mike Matheny has had to deal with a lot of injuries. The Pirates have too. The Cardinals right now reeling a bit. And a look at the Toyota RAV4 lineup for the visiting Buccos. Glenn Hurdle pens in Jordy Mercer atop the lineup with David Freese at first base tonight. Andrew McCutchen, who has hit well against Garcia. Gunn cleaning up with Marte, then Harrison. Sean Rodriguez is out in right. Eric Kratz doing the catching of Jeff Locke. Jordy Mercer doing very well in that leadoff role.
Here's your numbers for Jaime Garcia. 17th start, 96 innings. 81 punch outs in those 96 innings. Opponents hit .258 against him. Sinker baller. When we faced him last year, his ball was darting all over the place. It looked very difficult to hit. He's been a little inconsistent this year. And Garcia, guy, a fastball, slider, changeup, an occasional curveball.
There's the Honda defense with Molina back behind the plate, having a below average year throwing out base runners. Holiday, Grichuk just called up yesterday again. Piscotty, another Garcia at third. Diaz, Carpenter, and Jerko. 3rd straight start at first base in this series. Pirates starting all lefties, so no Matt Adams, Slippery Rock product. That's Greg Garcia, no relation. Who's been up and down from Memphis last couple of years. Play all over the infield for St. Louis. Jaime had 2 strikes.
Rare to see Jordy Mercer taking a couple of fastballs. Good fastball hitter.
And he takes 3. Away, and let's look at our Rivers Casino tips to win for tonight. Rock, what do you got?
I think it's evident. I think it's important for you to make Garcia elevate the ball. He did elevate a couple pitches there to Mercer. Mercer unable to pull the trigger. And I think you'll have more success against him. And for Jeff Locke, top of the lineup, after you get past the top 4, should be an easy day. So if he can minimize damage to Carpenter, Diaz, Holiday, Piscotty, should have another good game.
David Freese belts this one to left center, and there it goes. A home run for David Freese. Continues to be hot here in St. Louis. And the Pirates have an early 1-0 lead.
David Freese, I tell you, that might be the first ball he's pulled in this series. He's been hitting so many balls to right and right center field. And he got a fastball, first pitch fastball that wasn't exactly belt high, but it wasn't knee high either, about thigh high. And David Freese put a good swing on it.
Home run number 9. He's 5 for 9 against his old club. That one estimated at 428 feet.
428 feet, and it traveled there in a hurry. As you see, center cut, middle, little up. And maybe the book on David Freese, they've been throwing him a lot of first pitch fastballs for strikes, especially first at bats. Maybe they were thinking he was taking all the way, and Freese ambushed him.
Now Andrew McCutchen, he's got a dozen long balls. He likes hitting here in St. Louis.
Yes, he does, and that's just such a short little quick swing. Great extension. He knew it as soon as he hit it.
He's hit safely in every game on this road trip. 8 in a row now for Freese. From St. Louis, came up through the Cardinals system. And then remember when the series started, they gave him a nice ovation when it got. Now they're after those 5 hits so far in the series.
Tonight, last night they gave it to him too, but tonight, nothing.
They're not getting up anymore. He signed autographs for 15-20 minutes before the game tonight. Pirate stuff, Cardinal stuff, whatever. Chatted with folks. First pitch he sees, he hits a home run. Pension down on strike, so a pair of Ks for Garcia. Molina pretending to get out there and pause the game so that he could get an ovation, which happened on Monday night, or Monday afternoon, I should say, for the 4th of July. Robust round of applause. Pirates with an early lead. You know, in all these games that they've won lately, the last 5 have been come from behind wins. They've actually trailed early in the game. This is the first time in a while that they've gotten off since that Seattle win.
Yeah, how long ago that seems. Seattle.
But yet they've been able to come from behind to win. And the Pirates, with those 5 straight come from behind wins, it's the first time they've done that since 1991. Now ahead 1-2. A Polanco's eye view. Gateway arch situated in the backdrop. Garcia strikes out 3 in the inning, but David Freese gets the best of him. His former teammate giving the Pirates an early lead here in the first. Freese's 9th home run. And a look at the lineup for the homestanding Cardinals, managed by Mike Matheny. Matt Carpenter, Ledmus Diaz, and then Matt Holliday, who has hit well against Locke. Piscotty cleans up Molina up to the 5 spot. Grichuk called up yesterday from the minor leagues. Jerko starting again at first. Greg Garcia over at third. Johnny Peralta banged up, left the game yesterday.
Hyundai numbers for Jeff Locke.
8-5, 5.13. Again, that ERA skewed by just 4 starts. In his other 12, he's been outstanding. Opponents hit .270 against him.
And Eric is behind the plate. That one is Kratz. Pirates have 2 catchers named Eric, and they just rotate right now. Fryer last night, who drove in 3. Kratz will get the nod tonight. Matt Carpenter, one of the leading hitters in the National League, leading in on-base percentage. He'll be an all-star on Tuesday in San Diego. He's the lone Cardinals representative. How about that? The Cardinals have one. The Pirates only have one for now in Mark Melancon. They can also have a second with Starling Marte part of the final vote. And just a couple of days left to vote. Try to get him into the All-Star game. You can go to pirates.com/vote. Or you can text N4 to 89269 and to get Starling Marte into the All-Star game. He was second today after the first tabulation, but he's got to be first to get in. Nice start for Jeff Locke.
5 batters in, not a single ball in play.
Bullpen also encouraging you to vote Marte, and there's that way you can text either pirates.com/vote or text N4 to 89269. That is if you have a smartphone. Steve Blass has one now, but the phone he had in spring training couldn't do that.
No, I'm sure he's voting often.
Locke quickly ahead, 2 strikes.
Diaz didn't like that call, and you can see why.
Lance Barrett operating behind the plate this evening. Dan Isonia at first base with Dale Scott, the crew chief, at second. Bob Davidson swinging over to third this evening. There's Dale Scott, longtime umpire. Aledmys Diaz, the rookie shortstop, one of the contenders for Rookie of the Year.
Oh yeah.
Really came out of nowhere. Did not make the club out of spring training. He's got himself another base hit.
Loves the ball in. First 3 games of this series, we've seen a lot of off-speed pitches and pitches away because he likes to hit the fastball in.
Last night, Steven Brault making his big league debut, and he forgot his glove back in Indianapolis, so he had to wear Jeff Locke's glove. You can see the word Loch Ness on the side, and Jeff's got a different glove. So he's not using the Brault borrowed glove. He's got a backup version. Maybe he lent him his B glove. Did you have more than one glove? I mean, I guess if you play different positions, you need a different style of gloves.
All of these guys have more than one glove. They all have several. You know, they definitely have a gamer and a backup, and they probably have a third one somewhere. For some guys, you know, they might use the same glove. I know, like Jordy Mercer has a glove that he's worn for quite some time, and some guys like Andrew McCutchen might break in a new one every year, maybe a couple of different gloves each year.
Brault, pitcher, left his back in Indy. The irony is that it was shipped to the Pirates, and Brault was shipped back to Indianapolis today as Kyle Lobstein was recalled. Driven well to right, and what a grab by Sean Rodriguez.
Boy, I tell you what, Sean Rodriguez can go and play any position and play it above average. It is remarkable what Sean Rodriguez does on defense. You know you have a good outfielder when the ball's cracked and you look and he's in full stride taking the perfect angle towards the baseball. And Sean Rodriguez always going hard. That ball, I don't know, and we talk about the speed of our outfielders and everything else. Sean Rodriguez doesn't have near their speed, but his baseball speed, first step, route taking, first step, he may be the only guy on this team that can make that play.
That was unbelievable. And they appealed to see if Diaz retouched second as he rounded. He didn't think that that ball would be caught. I had no idea that ball was going to be caught. That was a sensational grab. Wow. Yeah, if you pass the bag, you have to retouch on your way back when you retreat. And he was ruled to have done so. This one driven well. But McCutchen with room. And so after Sean Rodriguez makes that great snare, that saves the day, keeping the Pirates in the lead. MC scoreboard as we move to the second here in St. Louis. Always commemorate each game with those placards on the bases, then they are sold.
Just the placard?
No, the whole base.
The whole base.
You can take it home after the game. Usually they pull them every 3 innings, I think. Most of the ballparks do that, so you can have a souvenir from the game. Don't forget to vote for Starling Marte. Try to get him into the All-Star game. Part of the final vote. You can go to pirates.com/vote. It's Tuesday night in San Diego. Mark Melancon already part of the fun. And Marte trying to get into his first All-Star game.
It's all I wanted from Three Rivers Stadium was a base. I wanted third base. They wouldn't give it to me.
Wow.
I think they already had them planned out. They had a plan for where everything was going. So.
Well, now these days, yeah, there's so many bases that are used for each game. I'm sure you could have got one. They probably have 100 sitting around.
In fact, I think they put in new bases each inning in that last game at Three Rivers, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, okay.
I'm not positive, but I recall more changes than normal.
So that they would have many game used from the final day. That makes sense. And Marte part of that final vote. Trying to get him into the 2016 Esurance MLB All-Star game. Hot shot to Garcia. not an easy play.
That was a great recovery from Greg Garcia over there. Able to go to his backhand and knock it down, and fortunately the ball was right there between his legs, so he could pick up and fire a strike and get Marte by half a step.
It didn't rush. Greg Garcia in there for Johnny Peralta, who left the game yesterday, not in the lineup today, hoping to get back in the next few days for the Cardinals. Josh Harrison working on a 6-game hitting streak. Pirates lead 1-0 on a David Freese first inning home run. There's Johnny Peralta. He had missed a lot of time this year already. The left thumb injury that he had, and experiencing more discomfort with that. There's some discomfort.
He's been beaten up a little bit this series. He's fouled a couple of pitches off of that left leg, the shin and the foot.
Sean Rodriguez last inning. I mean, beautiful images there on our Allegheny Health Network Super Mode. That doesn't even tell the whole story too. Now watch how in the background he's on the dead sprint, and he had to take a near perfect route just to get to that ball and then dive behind himself. Got underneath it. Harrison will draw the throw. So 2 gone. Harrison at first. Always a threat to run. But with the Garcia Molina combination, that probably will keep the Pirates relatively quiet today, right? Although Molina is about average this year in terms of how many he's thrown out. League average.
Still a guy that can catch and throw. There was a time, I don't think it mattered who was on the mound. Molina still had a pretty good chance of throwing just about every would-be base stealer out.
Kratz, one of the Erics. They're filling in for Pirates catchers, both Cervelli and Stewart on the DL. There's Eric Fryer. He had 3 RBIs last night, his first 3 as a Pirate, even though he played briefly with the Pirates in parts of 2 seasons earlier this decade. Kratz, also former Pirate, back again. Cervelli getting closer to returning, catching that simulated game thrown by Ryan Vogelsong yesterday. Participated in a rigorous batting practice, so encouraging to see him ramping up his baseball activities,
especially hitting. I mean, that would be the one thing, I guess, that regain the strength in that hand and be comfortable with the bat, not feel any effect from the surgery.
Chris Stewart, on the other hand, just being placed on the DL, but an MRI revealing some wear and tear in that knee, and he's hoping to be able to play through it. He'll be out at least until after the break, but might require some surgery on that left knee. Hasn't been decided yet on the course of action. Three and one on Kratz.
think that Kratz would be able to gear up, get ready for a fastball. Got it. Geared up for it. Just got under it.
Pirates strand a runner, but they've got the lead through an inning and a half here in St. Louis.
Broncos here as we hit the bottom half of inning number 2. I'm Robbie. It's Mikowski. Well, St. Louis has quite a few famous natives, including a legendary actor, John Goodman, who you might remember from the early 90s TV series Roseanne. Throughout the first pitch tonight, he's from nearby Afton, Missouri, and he also starred in a movie with bowling prominently involved called The Big Lebowski. You might remember that movie about 15, 17 years ago. And a bobblehead was given out tonight in his honor, a John Goodman bobblehead with him in the Big Lebowski outfit that we're going to show you here right after this pitch. Jeff Locke delivers to Yadier Molina. Looks like a routine ground ball to short. Jordy Mercer with the putout as we can get a shot here of the bobblehead. It's actually a pretty cool bobblehead. It's one of the smaller ones, and it has John Goodman holding a bowling bag with a bowling ball bag with a St. Louis Cardinals logo on it. And it was so popular that you needed a certificate to receive one of these bobbleheads. So quite the popular guy that John Goodman is here in the city of St. Louis, Joe and Rob.
Oh, that's fun. That's really fun. Yeah, he's one of the good guys, John Goodman, and I enjoyed him very much in Treme, which depicted post-Katrina New Orleans, and so many different works that he's been a part of, on and off camera. Cool to see him around here tonight. Neat idea too.
Yeah, that's a neat looking bobblehead.
Meanwhile, Jeff Locke got some help behind him, but he's permitted just the one single so far. He's got his second strikeout.
That's the pitch that you'll see. He gets ahead 0-2 without throwing a strike, and then the 0-2 pitch perfectly located. That back spin, he gets that little late movement that starts off the plate, catches the inside corner just about the top of the strike zone.
We're seeing Lance Baer call a wide strike zone so far.
Yeah. Have to swing the bat tonight.
That can help both pitchers. These guys are locators. When you had an umpire calling a zone like that, yeah, did you swing the bat more? Is that kind of the idea? Like, all right, I better get to hacking here. Or?
No, not up until 2 strikes. I mean, up till 2 strikes, you look for a pitch that you can drive. Generally speaking, the 90 strike zone was way wider than today's. Not even, well, they didn't have all these, you know, the strike zones that they do now. And
so it just went by feel for the umpire.
So you just had a bigger zone in general, but you knew the zone. Certain umpires you knew were bigger than others. But up until 2 strikes. And so, you know, with 2 strikes, you just have to protect. If they're, the zone usually wasn't very big on the inside part of the plate, but the outside part of the plate, and so you'd have to protect against the pitch off the plate.
Ted Jerko draws a 2-out walk. Jerko, the product of WVU and grew up in Morgantown. Two-out base runner for St. Louis. Pirates leading 1-0 on a David Freese home run in the first. Now Greg Garcia. Garcia up and down from Memphis, but has hit well instead. 351. Talking about how you approach things. Greg's grandfather is Dave Garcia, the former manager of the Angels in Cleveland, and his advice to Greg was, don't let a fastball hit the catcher's glove.
Be ready for the heater.
So a more aggressive approach from Dave Garcia, the grandson Greg. Even up.
Yeah, that one looked a little wide as well. Fastball a few inches off. His dad will be disappointed.
Jeff Locke with his 3rd strikeout. And he has blanked the Cardinals through the first 2. 1-0 Pirates. We move to the 3rd. And the Pirates taking on the rival Cubs Saturday at 7:15. Head on out to the North Shore early for a Saturday night block party. It features the Leinenkugel Bar. There's live music and a lot more going on Federal Street. Plus, you can get your tickets at pirates.com. So come out and see the Buccos here, returning home this weekend. Quick 3-gamer against the Cubs, then the All-Star break. And a big set of games here. Pirates winning the first 2 against these Cardinals. If Pirates win tonight, they will move ahead of the Cardinals in the standings. And the Cubs have lost again today. They've dropped 12 of their last 17. The Pirates could find themselves in second place and 8.5 games back with a win tonight.
Cubs shouldn't drop the design for the World Series ring yet.
Still a very good ball club, but every team goes through it as Locke lines out. Is that Whitey Herzog? Well, look at that. Great Cardinal manager. All those years in the 80s, of course, taking the Cardinals to many World Series. Number 24 retired. Whitey Herzog.
Boy, he had some teams with speed.
That's what they were known for. Yeah. They won in '82 against Milwaukee. Went back in '85 against Kansas City. Royals won that one. Yeah, that was those clubs on turf with Vince Coleman, especially. What, 110 steals, I think, in '85. Everybody stole 20 bases for the Cardinals that year, it seemed like.
Willie McGee, Ozzie Smith.
That was the double play combination for those Cardinals. I should say, I'm thinking Tommy Herr in my head, because he drove in 110 runs one year. He had like 5 home runs.
Yeah.
8, maybe 8. So definitely a different outfit than we see a lot today. Mercer said to have gone around. Here's how we have a run in this game. David Freese on the first pitch, launching his 9th home run. So far, the lone hit for the Buccos. It's given them the lead. He's hit well in this series, 5 for 9. A few Point Park tweets. Ross, yeah, they think they'll stop cheering Freese. It keeps diminishing. You're right. There's a freeze warning. Mike tells us. Coolest guy in the room, Donnie says, David Freese. Always tweet the booth, hashtag BucksBooth. So that 8-game hitting streak that extends for this whole road trip, hitting over 400. With benefit of hindsight, looking back, how about that signing? Pirates picking him up halfway through spring training.
Great signing.
I think at 299 now. Our Barrel League leaders in the hitting streaks that are going on right now. The rookie Corey Seager pacing the circuit. Freese is moving on up.
I mean, and I know once Jung Ho Kang came back, David Freese no longer an everyday player, but he's swinging the bat so well now. It's hard to not have him in the lineup. I mean.
And he's played very well at first base. That's where he is tonight. Diaz gets rid of it quickly, and Garcia has his first 1-2-3 inning. Pirates still lead on the Freese home run. Game for the latest Inside Pirates baseball, and on this week's edition, Clint Hurdle joining an elite fraternity. And Francisco Cervelli dips into the world of snacks with a tasty new salsa and much more. It's Inside Pirates baseball presented by Allegheny Health Network tonight after postgame right here on Root Sports. 1-0 Pirates here in the third. Clint Hurdle recently achieving his 1,000th career managerial victory. Jaime Garcia, 149 career hitter with a couple of home runs. Like when you got the pitcher leading off the inning.
Always good. Always good when you get what should be an easy first out.
Doesn't always work out that way, but that's your best shot night in and night out. I like that. I've got the right shirt on. Am I going to get the ball? Nope.
Maybe if you were wearing the right colors.
Blew up that lumber.
That sounded very strange. I'm sure it was a maple bat. Like an aluminum bat.
College World Series is over. Yeah, just a very hollowed sound. One out. Locke ahead a strike. Struck out Carpenter back of the first. You're talking about Locke and coming into tonight. Look at the overall numbers and you think, well, this has not been a good season. You know, Locke third highest ERA among the 49 qualified starting pitchers in the National League. It's over 5 coming in, but as you pointed out, you know, you look at 4 starts and they were very bad starts, and they happen, but he's been so either decent or good, and in one start fantastic in his shutout in Miami. In those other starts, that really the whole body of work isn't as bad as the cumulative numbers.
Yeah, I want to say in the other 12 starts he has about.
Carpenter here does not look like he's okay. Right around that right hip. Looks like the muscles there, the obliques. Yeah. Something right. And those can be really tricky if that's what that is.
Kind of reaching on fold. And boy, it didn't even take a full swing for him to feel something pull in there. And yeah, this is arguably their best player, and that would be a huge loss, and I can't imagine him being able to continue.
Matheny very quickly out there, and Carpenter is going to have to come out mid at bat. The Cardinals are literally losing somebody every game right now to injury, and now the latest is Matt Carpenter, their lone all-star. And knowing Matt Carpenter and his work ethic, he's the kind of guy that would not come out under any circumstance unless he could not continue. So Colton Wong will pick up for him.
Peralta appearing to be unavailable. It'll be Colton Wong, and it's kind of one of them odd situations where a batter comes in out of the dugout in the middle of an at bat. If he strikes out, it goes to Carpenter. Gets a hit, it goes to Wong. Kind of a no-lose situation for a batter.
And the result will go to Wong. Cutchin calls him off. And 2 gone. So Aledmys Diaz.
And I think both these pitchers should probably just have their catchers set up a little bit off the plate, because a lot of pitches on the outside part that are off the plate being called strikes.
Lance Barrett is in there this evening. 3rd season in the big leagues.
Diaz not happy with that one either.
And there you see why. That's a ball. Well, the umpires that are kind of in the bottom of success, right around that 84% accuracy. John Mabry, hitting coach of the Cardinals. So even the worst guys, the best guys, get it right closer to 90%, somewhere in there. So even 9 out of 10 is about as good as they get. There's Bob Davidson, who was working the plate last night. That's the way you solve that. Aledmys Diaz with home run number 12, and we're knotted at 1.
Again, he's a hot batter. He loves the ball middle in. All his red zones are middle of the plate in, and Jeff Locke threw him one pretty much middle. And Diaz, watch where this location is, right down the middle. And Eric Kratz was set up in. I'm a little surprised by that, because he likes the ball in. He got a base hit in the first on a fastball that was in, and you're getting the pitch away. I would throw every pitch off the plate away. If I keep getting the call, there's not a whole lot you can do with that pitch. It's off the plate away. But I was a little surprised that they wanted to come inside there.
Is Locke, as a left-hander, able to locate off that outer edge to righties?
But that's not even the question. Is why throw anything else but the fastball away?
Sure.
And obviously he can throw it away, because he threw 2 for strikes in that at bat that weren't even close. And so why would you throw anything but that? Especially to a guy that's a dead red fastball middle in hitter.
And that mistake costs Jeff Locke and the Pirates, as Diaz has tied it at 1.
It's time for the Toyota RAV4th inning. The all-wheel drive RAV Hybrid has performance that will make you rethink hybrid. Let's go Bucks!
1-1 tie. Aledmys Diaz, the rookie, with his 12th home run. And even in St. Louis as we start the 4th. Pirates trying for their 7th consecutive win. Andrew McCutchen will start things off. Milton Wong stays in the game to play second base for Matt Carpenter, who came out grabbing his right side. McCutchen tonight struck out back in the first. It'll be weird to not see him in the All-Star game. First time since 2010 that McCutchen not part of the Midsummer Classic. These two fans got a shirt of their favorite guy. Maybe he'll be that guy that really turns it on in the second half. We forget about a pedestrian first half from McCutchen. Draw a leadoff walk here in the 4th. That's a good start.
Yeah, Garcia nowhere near the strike zone with any of those 4 pitches. But yeah, I would expect McCutchen to have a good second half. Just too much talent not to.
Great look there. The right field seats as the sun sets here in St. Louis. Gung struck out back of the first. Pirates trying to retake the lead. Gung with 5 hits in his last 36. On a bit of hard times. McCutchen with 2 stolen bases. He's been thrown out 5 times. With Molina back there. Always curious how aggressive teams will be. Garcia. Lefty probably dissuades that a little bit, right?
Yeah, and especially if you have a good move. And sometimes it doesn't even matter your move to first. It's the way, how much different it looks when they go to the plate than they go to first. As a base runner, you're looking there and you want to see him throw over to first, so you want to be able to pick something up. Some pitchers, some left-handed pitchers are really easy to read, some more difficult.
What are you trying to read?
Well, it's hard to, I don't know if there's anything specifically that you can read other than, you know, for the most part, most left-handers, when they pick up that right leg, it looks the same when they're throwing to first and throwing to home. Again, some people will lean towards, some of the lefties will lean towards home, which is a dead giveaway. They're easier to take off on. But the guys that come up and look the same, they're the toughest.
Now 2 balls and 2 strikes. Molina has won the last 8 Gold Gloves in the National League behind the plate. This year the caught stealing numbers about league average for now. Down on strikes again. 5 strikeouts for Jaime Garcia.
You mentioned in the first that Garcia does not throw a lot of curveballs. I think he's thrown 4 or 5, and they've all been thrown to Jung Ho Kang. See there, the 79, good downward break, and Jung Ho just unable to stay back.
Starling Marte Grounded out on that good play by Greg Garcia over at third, back at the second inning. Trying to get Starling Marte into the All-Star game, part of that final vote. He ranks second among the 5 right now. He's got to be first to get him into the All-Star game. You can always go to pirates.com/vote. Try to get him in. And some Point Park tweets. Jordy Mercer trying to get Starling Marte into the All-Star game, as is Jared Hughes. States his reasons, and Naftali Feliz as well. Congratulating Mark Melanson, who will be the Pirates representative and might be able to be with Marte in San Diego on Tuesday. It would be Marte's first trip. Pirates.com/vote. Voting ends at 4 p.m. on Friday Eastern Time. So you don't have a lot of time. And if you don't have a lot of time, you can text N4 to 89269. Caught a little bit of Molina. Cardinals already putting a catcher on the disabled list today. Brian Pena, who started last night, is out. Having more complications with that left knee after having surgery. Now 2-2 on Marte. McCutchen with that leadoff walk. There's that move over.
And if you're looking to go again, it helps the more they throw over. There might not be a particular thing that you notice, but you notice something different when he throws over. That's when you feel like you can go on first move, or maybe a split second after first move, I should say. But that guy's an equalizer. Molina behind the plate.
Two. Marte spoiling that. So often on this trip, Pirates have had to come from behind to take the lead. Tonight it was the Pirates scoring first. The Cardinals have answered. The Pirates a lot of times have come back on their own and put up an answer. Full 3-2.
Good take there. Garcia trying to get Starling to chase the curveball. He starts it in, it breaks off. Although you see the WB Mason strike zone shows it touches the inside corner at the knees. But when a catcher catches a ball that low, never called a strike. But that goes to show you how much break, how much late break there is on that curveball.
And a base hit into left. Everyone moves up a base. As McCutchen now in scoring position.
Looked like a fastball right down the middle. Challenging Marte. He rolls it over through the hole, hits it hard.
So 2 men on with 1 out. Josh Harrison clipped with a pitch back at the second.
this may be a dumb question, but if you're put on the disabled list before the All-Star break, the days through the All-Star break count.
Yes.
So if you're going to ever be put on the disabled list, and if, say, especially if it's only like a 15-day deal, I guess it's best to do it over the break.
And that's what the Pirates have done with Jameson Taillon, just trying to give him a break right now, and trying to do it in a way that won't limit his action too much. And you can also have somebody to start in his stay. Taillon, for instance, and there he is in the center. He'll be eligible to return right after the break. You start him kind of whenever you want. So a good example of that, yeah. So if you've got a 10-day thing,
yeah,
okay, do it through the break. Sometimes you can make a roster. There's Garrett Cole, who's been out for a month now, but he's nearing a return. 3 innings yesterday in Indy in his first rehab start. He says probably one more, and then that time he'll wait during the break. He can come back right after. But some teams will option pitchers. The Brewers doing that today with Zach Davies, sending him down. He's not going to pitch in AAA, but just to get that extra roster spot filled, have him skip a start. Basically, that's it. You can do that with the 10-day deal. Did he touch second? I said he did. Clint Hurdle is going to see if Diaz touched second base or not. And there's no more neighborhood play in baseball. If he didn't touch second, there's not an out recorded there. And live, it looked like he may have skipped over it. Hard to tell.
He slid. He touched it. A lot of shortstops will kind of slide and hit the back part of the bag. It actually looked like he, like that was almost the purpose, to slide and hit the back part of the bag, but it looked like he hit the top of it.
So the double play will stand. No challenge from the Pirates, and it's 1-1 through 3.5 from St. Louis. The bottom of the fourth. Josh Harrison trying to beat out the back end of that double play ball. Locke facing Stephen Piscotty. 4, 5, and 6 due up for St. Louis, with Molina and Grichuk to follow. First full season for Piscotty. Pirates wanted to look at either second base and or first base. Both plays were really close. And on the Allegheny Health Network Supermo showing that Harrison out by a whisker.
Yeah, it doesn't get any closer than that. That's a heck of a turn. Wong did a nice job getting rid of it, getting it to Diaz quickly. Good, strong, accurate throw from Diaz.
Base hit for Scotty. And back in the third inning, Matt Carpenter on a 3-1 pitch just checked his swing and ended up injuring his right oblique. Right away, you can feel it. And he left mid at bat. Carpenter missing a month because of an oblique strain 4 years ago. And again, something reoccurring tonight. He's being further evaluated. He's out of the rest of this game and maybe beyond for St. Louis.
Those things never just go away. It's almost always a DL situation.
They put Brian Pena on the DL today, Brandon Moss yesterday on the DL. Johnny Peralta not available tonight with left thumb discomfort after having that same situation keep him from playing earlier this year. Pirates no strangers to injuries themselves, so it gets around. Pirates with 6 on the DL. And John Neese flying back to Pittsburgh to have his left knee examined, but he's still scheduled to pitch on Sunday. And his start moved back today so that Tyler Glasnow will make his major league debut tomorrow afternoon.
Look forward to it.
Glasnow here with the Pirates, arriving this afternoon. And was as wide-eyed as you'd expect. So we see Stephen Brault making his debut yesterday. Glasnow tomorrow. Already Tyone and Cool. Pirates are using some of that depth, and Clint Hurdle talking about that today. That, you know, the teams that don't have it get exposed. The teams that do, they get it tested, usually throughout a season.
Moans and groans there from the folks here, thinking that pitch was up and out of the zone. Straight at the top.
Over the borderline. Scotty with 4 steals. He's been thrown out 5 times. He's over at first.
I'm sure the game plan is to work Molina in as Jeff Locke. Every pitch this at bat is in. You wonder with the zone and how wide it is, if you just go ahead and, you know, maybe try to steal one. Just go set up 6 inches, 8 inches off the plate. See if you can get another call.
Molina no longer the power threat that he once was, since he had that first of 2 thumb injuries a couple of years ago. He's hit 5 home runs in nearly his last 1,000 plate appearances. So it's not really that home run guy that he had become during his peak seasons. And lines out to McCutchen for the first out. And since we were talking about Tyler Glasnow, look at our Quicken Loans Rocket Arms. 113 strikeouts, leading the International League. That's the league that Indianapolis is in, and the second most in all of minor league baseball. And only a guy in the Mexican League has more. His opposing batting average is the lowest we've seen in AAA in 7 years at this point. Tyone and Cool, Rocket Arms as well, the young guys helping out in the rotation.
A lot of talent.
Glasnow limiting. We've seen 3 different outings for Glasnow where he has no hit the opponents. Now he didn't last the entire outing, of course, but guy's hitting just 176 against him this year. Broke his bat and it's through. Piscotty's going to try for third and he'll get in. And the Cardinals with runners in the corners and 1 out.
Off the bat, thought maybe double play ball. I think Erik Kratz wanted that pitch away. The ball ended up coming down and in. Probably a ball down and in. Jordy Mercer just not long enough. There you see Kratz set up down and away. It ends up down and in.
Randall Grichuk called up yesterday because of Moss's DL stint.
And we've seen Jeff Locke more and more this year, I think, pitch to both sides of the plate. I think he's gotten more and more comfortable throwing strikes to his arm side, away to righties, than he has in the past. I mean, he used to be, you know, you can almost guarantee you're getting a fastball in against him in past years. But I mean, I don't want to beat this up, but if I was comfortable in throwing that fastball just off the plate away, every hitter is going to take it if it's off the plate away. And to get a cheap strike, that one ends up on the plate, it appeared. But yeah, that pitch is 4 or 6 inches. I mean, he's been getting it pretty consistently. I would think that I would want to take advantage of that.
And if Kratz sets up out there, the umpire probably is going to call it.
That's the way it's been so far.
Zerko, not a very fast runner, can be doubled up. But he gets a base hit to drive in Piscotty, and St. Louis has their first lead.
And there, it looked as if Kratz again was set up off the plate to try to get that, but look where the pitch ends up. On the plate and elevated. But still, pretty good swing. A lot easier to hit that fastball, though, that's up around the belt than if it's down around the knees. But we don't see Zerko go the other way very often. I don't have anything in front of me that suggests hits by direction, but
no, he seems like a pull hitter.
He's pretty much a pull guy.
What I've seen. Yeah. Conference all around here with the Cardinals still with 2 men on. And so if the Pirates want to keep this winning streak going, they're going to have to come from behind yet again here tonight. They've done it 5 straight games. First time in a quarter century they've done that. Greg Garcia struck out his first time around. And he pokes a base hit. Grichuk held at third. Rodriguez retrieving it quickly, and the bases are full of Cardinals with 1 out. Four hits in the inning off Jeff Locke.
That pitch, not bad. Down, outer half. We'll go down and golf it out there.
That brings up the pitcher, Jaime Garcia. Middle infield back looking to turn 2. .200 this season, 149 in his career coming in. Corners even with the bags. Outfield shallow as well. Now bunt. Reds trying valiantly to get that one. It didn't stay up high enough.
It wasn't a squeeze. The runners were holding. And whether Garcia was doing that on his own, who knows? Maybe Matheny wanted him to bunt to stay out of a double play.
You want to stay out of a double play, the best thing to do is keep the bat on your shoulder. Otherwise, anything else can happen. Rodriguez especially shallow to the pull field. 2-1. You got to throw him a strike though. Couple of home runs in his career. Cardinals have taken the lead. They've smacked 4 singles off lock. Thrown 18 pitches this inning. Bend but don't break. Out to shallow center. Grichuk tagging. McCutcheon's throw. And everyone moves up, and the Cardinals add a run.
Tip your cap to Jaime Garcia, able to get this ball out to the outfield. That pitch, not a bad pitch. You think maybe you can get a strikeout on a breaking ball that's off the plate, but Garcia slaps it out there. Brings home that 3rd run, and 2 runners move up.
2nd and 3rd with 2 outs. Wong getting his first full at bat. Dragging a bunt. And they just do get him. You like the head first slide, Rock?
Not typically, but in this case, it looked as if he beat that. Watching it live, it looked like Wong beat the flip.
A little hesitation from Locke, too. What do you think?
It looked like the hand got there before the ball got into David Freese's glove.
He's on the bag. Great look there on our Allegheny Health Network Supermo. Cardinals are challenging this. Now, if he gets in, then the inning continues with the 5th hit.
I'll say this as an umpire, this has to be one of the hardest calls to make at first base. They rely on sound so much. You know, they're usually looking at the bag, looking for a foot to hit the bag, and then listening for the ball to hit the glove. And on this, it's a little flip, so there's not going to be any sound, maybe just a bit of sound, but not enough sound maybe to make a difference as an umpire. I don't know if you can hear that ball hit the leather when you have an underhand flip like that. And then you got a guy diving head first, and you're not used to seeing the hand. So I think that's one of the tougher calls to make. You saw it was bang bang. They're taking some time. I'm afraid it's going to go against the Pirates, though.
If that is the case, Jerko not only scores, but Garcia with a heads-up play. He kept running all the way from second base. This would cost a pair of runs.
I can't see that happening. I can't see them awarding them home.
Yeah, they're going to put Garcia back at third.
You can't give him that.
Okay.
because with the out call, it has to be dead.
A heads-up play, though. It is still 1 run as Jerko is in on that bunt RBI single by Colton Wong. And the Cardinals have put on 3 here in the 4th. That tells it right there. That's why Mike Matheny challenged, and Wong laying down the bunt. So 4-1 St. Louis.
I'll tell you, that's heads-up base running by the Cardinals too, with that bases loaded sac fly, having everybody tag and move up. You know, the ball wasn't hit all that deep, and so it's a situation where if you feel that Andrew McCutchen has a chance of throwing out the runner at home, why not tag up and go if you think they have a chance of throwing him out at home? If you tag up and go and they cut it, or if the throw comes into third, the inning ends, but you trade that out for a run. But by them moving up, there not being a play at second or third, then you can bunt, base hit, you get another run out of it. And that's a decision for Andrew McCutchen. He obviously thought it was shallow enough to where he could throw him out at the plate, threw it to the cutoff man.
Now 2-1 on Diaz.
But you know, if you make the decision of throwing it to third, chances are, you know, the runners are going to put on the brakes. They're going to stay at first and second. But the ball wasn't hit all that deep. You take a crack at it at the plate. But for me, the Cardinals did the right thing by moving up in that situation.
Now 3-1. Well, the Pirates have won just once in the last month when allowing 4 or more runs. When they have won, it has been because of good pitching. And tonight, this one already hanging in the balance a bit early on. And Diaz is going to add another. Garcia is in, and Wong streaks to third. The Cardinals lead 5-1. Diaz 3 for 3 tonight.
He's been their hottest hitter. And again, set up away. That ball outer third of the plate. Stays through the middle.
Jared Hughes in the bullpen. This is the 9th man to bat in the inning for St. Louis. 2 outs and a strike call.
And we've talked about the wide zone a lot here tonight.
How about the low zone?
Wow.
That will finally end this inning. Cardinals send up 9, score 4 times. innings here in St. Louis. Look at our day automotive. This day in Pirates history. You got to go back to 1933, the first ever Major League Baseball All-Star game at Comiskey Park in Chicago. And Big Poison Paul Waner and Pie Traynor representing the Pirates. Pie delivering that pinch hit double in the 7th inning, and then Waner with the final inning in right field. The American League topped the National League 4-2 in that first ever All-Star game. Sean Rodriguez sends one deep to center and out of here. How about that for an answer? Rodriguez with home run number 7.
Maybe that's what the Pirates needed to do. Let the Cardinals get a lead. Well, they've been winning of late. The last 5 games from the come from behind variety. Sean Rodriguez is first at bat in the 2nd. Hit the ball well, just under it a bit. Deep fly ball to right. This one not under it. Gets a pitch, and pretty similar to the pitch David Freese hit out. Middle of the plate, just above the knee.
Estimated at 419 feet. Erik Kratz wraps one into the corner. This should be extra bases, as Kratz will get in with the double. And 2 pitches into the 5th. Pirates collecting a pair of extra base hits off Garcia.
Sean Rodriguez on time. You see the head drop, the foot down early. Jumps off his bat.
Jeff Locke's night is done. Adam Frazier pinch hitting for him. The rookie who's been up for a couple of weeks, off to a great start, and he can hit left-handed pitching too. That's, if you're scratching your head, why would you bring up a lefty to face a lefty? Frazier in his time this year with Indy, hitting .329 against lefties. He hit .303 against lefties last year.
Plus only one righty on the bench, and that's the backup catcher.
Sean Rodriguez with that home run, his 7th. Frazier's been hitting lefties his whole life. Dad Tim is left-handed and was his little league coach. Well, he's seen plenty of southpaw slants through his lifetime. Growing up in Bishop, Georgia. Now 3-1 on Frazier.
And that's what is impressive, his patience, his recognition. We don't see him chase too many pitches out of the strike zone, although this breaking ball at the knees on the corner probably has Matt Holliday murmuring out there and left.
That'll move Kratz to 3rd. A productive out for the rookie Adam Frazier.
Good at bat, take advantage. Pick up that RBI. If you're Jordy Mercer, all you need is a ground ball up the middle, past the pitcher.
Deep enough fly ball could score Kratz, who does not run well. And if you're the Pirates and you get 2 in this inning, after giving up 4, you feel pretty good. Cut that deficit in half.
A lot of ball game.
Right to the 3rd baseman playing in. Garcia throws him out.
That's one place you don't want to hit it.
now more than likely will take a 2-out hit as Jared Hughes continues to loosen. He'll come on for Locke, who's been lifted after 4 innings. Locke gave up 5 runs on 8 hits. Freese is homered tonight. He has collected 5 hits in this series. Hit safely in every game on this road trip. Pirates are 6-1 on this trip. They've won 6 games in a row on the road. They did that, remember, in September last year, in that 8-game winning streak on the road on the same trip. Erik Kratz with a double with no men out. They're at third with 2 away. 5-2 St. Louis in the 5th.
Garcia's 5th start against the Pirates. This is the first one of the 5 where he's allowed more than 1 earned run.
What was his ERA coming in against the Pirates? 0 something?
5.7. 0.57.
That's called a strike.
And it seems like with the right-handed batters tonight, the outside part of the plate, a lot of strikes out there. Molina set up way out there. That ball tails again off the plate, and that one almost borderline up. And neither pitcher really has taken advantage of it. We've seen some calls out there, but it's not like they've really tried to go there, either one. Especially early in the count where it's almost like a free strike.
You're talking about the strike zone in the 90s. Go YouTube some of that stuff. That one was out of the zone too. Freese better stay in this ball game. Lance Barrett having a rough night, and the Pirates get one back. Freese hold on strikes. There was a couple pitches in that bat. Lance Barrett and he did not see eye to eye.
Yeah, he got one away, did Garcia, then he gets this one that's off the plate in, and that's the one that I think is a hitter you really get upset with. And you see David Freese, give me your keys to your house. My guess is that maybe Lance Barrett said, "I bet you my house that was a strike," and then Freese went in there and looked at the video.
Barrett has not had a good night behind the plate. That happens.
You were talking about, as Jared Hughes takes the hill, you were talking about the 90s in the strike zone back then, and two of the best pitchers, obviously Hall of Fame pitchers, and two of the best pitchers from the right and left side in that era, Glavine, Maddox. If they were getting 4 inches off the plate, they'd go 5 inches off the plate. If they were getting 5, they'd get 6. If they were getting 6, they'd continue on their way out. And when they quit getting it, then they'd start working their way back to the corner, especially Glavine. He had such great command of that part of the plate away to righties to where he could go and just execute one after another and stay down and stay away and work it off the plate, and he'll keep extending that until it's no longer a strike, and then he'll work his way back in. Now, if he goes and throws one 4 inches off the plate and it's not a strike, it's called a ball, then he'll start working his way back on the plate. Those two guys had so much command with like almost 700 wins between them, with really not a breaking ball. Neither one of them threw a breaking ball. You know, Glavine later in his career started cutting the ball, but they were both mostly just fastball changeup, and then they would, you know, tinker in between, add and subtract off their fastball. But, you know, they took advantage of what umpires were giving them more so than anybody I've ever seen.
Yeah, if you YouTube something like that, maybe like Glavine strike zone or Maddox strike zone, you'll see, because at that time there's no, you know, the predecessor to Pitch Effects was Quest Tech, and then before that there was nothing. It was just, you would have a supervisor occasionally, right, at games that.
Oh, I don't know about that either, but
Molina pokes a base hit.
But you knew when you were playing in a game and say Eric Gregg was behind the plate, you knew the strike zone was going to be bigger, and then the better pitchers that had good command would take advantage of that wider strike zone. Frank Pulley was another one that would have a wider strike zone. You knew which umpires were tight and which ones were bigger, and the better pitchers in baseball took advantage of that, and you know, they could throw it where they wanted to, and if they were getting the calls, they'd continue to get them. They'd take advantage for sure.
And so there was no major recourse if umps called a strike zone improperly, so to speak. Nowadays they're graded, and you can even, I think there's a website that you can go to and see year after year who's among the better ones. There's not a whole lot of variance these days. They got to try to call it right, but every now and then you'll see a night like tonight where Lance Barrett so far is wide in the strike zone quite a bit. That was ball one. 2-0 from Jared Hughes, who has not pitched since June 28th. Picking up for Locke, who went 4 innings, gave up 8 hits and 5 runs. Randall Grichuk with one of 6 singles the Cardinals collected in that 4th inning. They plated 4 runs to take their first lead. Clint Hurdle wanting Jared Hughes to come in a clean inning, get him back on track. And Grichuk will reach. And McCutchen leaving his feet, and he'll be awarded a base hit.
He did a great jump on this ball. Came in running hard, read it perfectly, and just missed it.
So 2 men aboard for St. Louis, and they're threatening again here in the 5th. And Jerko, a walk and a run scoring single. Hughes needs a ground ball. Jerko can be doubled up, doesn't run well. He said that last time, and then he poked a base hit into right. Second time's a charm. And so Hughes gets the ground ball. And those two hits, no matter, as we'll move it to the 6th. Still Cardinals on top. Friday for the All-Star Game final vote, and if you go to Pirates.com and vote for Starling Marte, you'll receive an offer for $6 off the price of any grandstand seat to this weekend's games against the Cubs. So get on out and vote for Starling Marte. Go to Pirates.com/vote. That's the only way that you can get that deal. And again, voting ends Friday at 4 p.m. Eastern. So get Starling Marte into the All-Star Game on Tuesday. Pirates upping the ante, giving you a special discount offer. And it's going to be a big series, it looks like, against Chicago, as the Pirates have rattled off 6 wins in a row. They've had to come from behind in the last 5 to do it, and then have to do it again here tonight, trailing 5-2. Garcia at 74 pitches to begin the 6th. McCutchen, Gung, and Marte. There's Starling Marte trying to make his first All-Star game. 1 of 5 in that All-Star final vote. Foul tip. Melanson there on the right, and that's how you can also vote if you want to send a text. Melanson is in. Hashtag vote Marte. There's also in the final few hours before the balloting ends, you can tweet that hashtag, and that counts as a vote. Not yet, though. But you can still do it anyway to encourage your friends.
When's that? Friday?
Friday at 4. That's when the voting ends. Now 3-2. payoff from Garcia. And he walks McCutchen for the second time tonight.
See if the Pirates can make that hurt. Make him pay. 3-run lead.
Marte out on deck. Here are the men that he faces as part of the National League final vote. Brandon Belt right now the leader. Marte coming in after day 1 at number 2. Braun of the Brewers, Jake Lamb of the Diamondbacks, Trevor Story, the rookie of the Rockies, are the other candidates. Pirates.com/vote gets you that ticket offer, or you can also text N4 to the number 89269.
There's some guys with pretty good numbers. I know the one guy's probably not going to get any support outside of his home city. I can't imagine Ryan Braun getting much help.
He has not been a fan favorite in the last couple of years outside of Wisconsin.
And Jake Lamb, boy, what numbers he's put up quietly.
And really in the last couple of months.
Yeah.
Really come on. Leading the National League in slugging percentage. But facts aside, who needs facts? Starling Marte among the leaders in stolen base and batting average. There's Matt Bowman. Righty sinker baller. Rookie, Rule 5 guy getting up.
I would think Marte would help as far as the All-Star team. The importance of winning the game would help more than the other guys in terms of defense, pinch running.
Yeah, you bring up a good point, because now if Terry Collins could have his pick of the litter, Marte probably makes the All-Star team because of that, because you're trying to win that game. If your team makes the World Series, you get home field advantage if the league that you play in wins the All-Star game. So they are playing to win. So the defense, as Rock mentioned, and the speed very important. So but now it's up to the fans to vote in, because you know, when you're managing the All-Star game, you got to get in one guy from every team. You've got to fill out different positions. So if there's a glut of very good players at one position, you might leave out some qualified guys.
There's all these guys that every year it seems like there's a handful of guys that are deserving that don't get to go. That's the pitch that's been called. It seems a lot tonight, almost all night long. That borderline pitch on the outside corner that's been called a strike. This one, as you see, boy, it just tails off. There have been a lot of pitches that were further off the plate than that.
Like one to Matt Holliday and to David Freese as well. That is a walk. Back-to-back walks issued by Garcia to start the 6th. The Pirates down 3 in the 6th, and the tying run in Marte coming up. And make your Friday a free shirt Friday. Nice model right there. And this Friday, the Pirates taking on the Cubs at 7:05. And if you're one of the first 20,000 through the gates, you receive a free Starling Marte Gold Glove T-shirt presented by Root Sports. If you want tickets, go to pirates.com/free shirt Friday. Jaime Garcia is done for the evening after walking the first 2 men in the 6th. Mike Matheny wants a new pitcher here with the Cardinals up 3. Matt Bowman coming on. Back in a moment from St. Louis.
Pirates baseball on Root Sports is brought to you by Kenny Ross, Total Confidence Pricing, and by Levin Furniture, the official furniture and mattress supplier to the Pittsburgh Pirates. For the best quality, service, and value, shop Levin's. Let's go Bucks!
We're in the 6th inning. Starling Marte coming up with nobody out. He's the tying run. A couple of walks issued by Jaime Garcia.
Matt Bowman, the roll 5 pick, 1 and 2, a 3.41 ERA, his 26th appearance. Not many strikeouts, 31 2/3 innings. Opponents only hitting .203 against him.
Marte 1 out of 2 tonight.
Bowman gets a lot of ground balls. Fastball, slider, split. Not a very hard thrower. Averages just over 91.
He's kind of assumed the role that Seth Maness had the last couple of years. That'll be all. Soft liner for the first out.
Boy, just not enough height on that one. You thought for a moment there that was going to get over the head of Colton Wong. Ball just not hit hard enough. Looked like it got in on Marte a bit.
Wong just 5'9". Cutchin the lead runner. Harrison clipped with the pitch and batted with first and second and 1 out in the 4th and grounded into an inning-ending double play. So a second chance. And he's behind 2 strikes.
The amount of ground balls that Bowman gets, it leads all National League relievers in getting ground balls, 66.7, 2/3 of the time. And it doesn't look like there's a whole lot of sink on the fastball. That at 94 looked pretty true, pretty straight. There's the run, that 2-seam fastball, more movement. But more of a running fastball, that last one, than a sinking fastball. You see Jared Hughes, his sinking fastball, a lot of downward movement. Not a lot of downward movement on that last one from Bowman. That looked like the split. Josh Harrison, as always, does a good job of wasting pitches, staying alive. You can see the split breaking straight down. Jay Hay, one of the better 2-strike pitchers. Rather 2-strike hitters. Did I say pitchers?
We know what you meant.
Look at that.
And he does it again.
Thing of beauty.
And the runners will all move up on that throw. And RBI single for Harrison. And the Pirates within 5-3.
Boy, what a horrible decision by Grichuk out in center field, throwing that ball to third base. Cutchins is going to score easily. No play there. Okay, so Jung Ho Kang goes to third. It's first and third. I mean, the ball's in the gap. Who are you going to throw out from that position? Just lob it into second base. You keep it the double play in order. You have a first and third 1-out situation, but now by airmailing the cutoff man and having no play at third is Rick Sofield.
Doing his best Bob Walk impression. Base hit for Rodriguez. Kang is in. And that costs the Cardinals a run, and the Pirates down 1 here in the 6th. The comeback Bucks at it again.
Stay hot. Sean Rodriguez, continue to do it. Continue to make an impact coming off the bench. And he gets a pitch. Little slider. Look at the location there. Knee-high corner. Sean Rodriguez. Beautiful piece of hitting. Not trying to do too much. Just trying to put it in play. Had the infield back. Anything up the middle was going to score one anyhow. He gets the bonus. The base hit into right.
So a pair of runs batted in. Grichuk just called up yesterday. Cardinals sending him down to try to get some of the parts of his game refined. And now Gregory Polanco is going to pinch hit for Eric Kratz here. Well, Clint Hurdle going for it here with the opportunity here in the 6th. Polanco at .292, a dozen homers. He's knocked in a team leading 50. One of the team's best hitters up in this situation.
Has a huge hole on the right side with Rodriguez being held on.
Well, the Pirates have not come from behind. 4 runs to win this season. That's what would happen here tonight if the Pirates can come back again and win.
Mike Matheny has to be. He didn't look happy, by the way, needing to take out his starter Garcia after 2 walks with a 3-run lead.
And both of those runs that have scored in this inning are charged to Garcia. He gives up 4 runs in 5+.
Yeah, I think that has to be, for a manager, the most frustrating thing when you have a nice lead. You haven't been playing great. You lose the first 2 games of the series. And your starter pitches around 2 guys with that 3-run lead.
One-two from Bowman. It's stopped by Molina. Rodriguez aboard at first. Harrison now on at third.
Molina makes it look so easy, blocking balls.
He's won the Gold Glove the last 8 years.
You see certain catchers are back there. They're scrambling, and it just looks like he can fall to the ground so softly and easily, and he just covers up everything.
Little pop-up. This won't do much. And fair ground. That's the 2nd out. These guys never give up, do they?
Sean Rodriguez was trying to draw a throw. Who knows? He broke off. Jay knew it. So Jay was tagging. I mean, you get maybe your 2 best base runners on the field right now. And not the fastest, but guys that are really good. And Sean Rodriguez was breaking off, maybe thinking he'd get a throw. He actually did it a couple times trying to get a throw. Jay was kind of hoping to see a throw. And you never know. You throw the ball across the diamond, the ball maybe short hops, kicks away, and Jay, he always is aggressive and heads up.
Now Matt Joyce, baseball's leading pinch hitter. Got the tying run at third with 2 outs here in the 6th. Joyce with runners in scoring position and 2 outs, hitting at .444. And pinch hitting, he's been the best in baseball. Most home runs, most hits, most runs batted in. Jaime Dunn. And the Pirates come back. Three home runs as well with 2 outs and runners in scoring position. Harrison the tying run at third. Rodriguez at first. Now 1-2. A.J. Schugel will be next as Hughes has been lifted. And Clint Hurdle going for it with bringing up Polanco for Kratz, bringing in Joyce here. He recognizes this can be the chance. That's called a strike. Oh, that's frustrating. And the Cardinals for now will maintain the lead. Scored twice to make it a one-run game. 5-4 on the UPMC scoreboard. And just a reminder, as you enjoy a cold one, to look forward to Miller Time later in the game. Brought to you by Miller Lite. Eric Fryer, the new catcher, after Kratz was pinch hit for. 3 RBIs last night, the former Cardinal. A.J. Schugel on the mound.
Schugel, 28th game, 1-2 the record, 3.48 ERA. Well, you saw Jay-Hay there. Sofield just being very precautionary with 1 out, and see Jay-Hay sliding there. And typically with 1 out, you assume that, you know, a fly ball, whatever, is going to tie it. So you don't want to make that second out at home. But you know, Josh Harrison had such a terrific break on that base hit from Sean Rodriguez. Good chance he does score that tying run. But Polanco, Joyce unable to bring him home. So Cardinals still up by 1.
I liked how Clint Hurdle emptied the bench there. Brought in his 2 big bats, sensing the moment. Even though it was the 6th inning, that might be, it could be, we look back and it's no big deal, but that might be your last big opportunity until your final hacks.
Well, it's a 1-run game, tying run at third base. You figure that the pitcher's spot probably only going to come up 1 more time in the last 3 innings. And no sense holding back.
Still 2-2 on Garcia. A.J. Schugel has been so good. This Pirates bullpen has collectively been fantastic, but Schugel, his last 10 games, an ERA of 1.62. The rookie, he's earned a lot of trust. Mercer on to Freeze for the first out.
And a good
changeup from Schugel, inducing the weak contact.
Marky Mark playing in the background. That must mean that Matt Adams is coming up. I don't know why that's translated that way, but that's what he comes out to. He's been a good pinch hitter, .444, but he's hitless in his last 18. Well, Matt Bowman done after an inning. Now look at that. That's over a 10-game stretch. Schugel has gotten better and better as the year's gone on.
That's the good changeup. He has so much confidence in, throws it to righties and lefties. That's a great fade. Just falls off down and away from the left-handed batter.
Schugel finding his way to the Pirates in the offseason after being claimed off waivers in January. A move that you wouldn't really note much coming into the season. Non-roster invitee in spring training, didn't make camp, the roster out of camp, but when Michael Morse was designated, picked him up, and he's been up most of the rest of the season. Jonathan Broxton is up for the Cardinals. Now 2-2 on Adams, the Slippery Rock product. Colton Wong in the game for the injured Matt Carpenter to follow. And the first two men gone.
Schugel, you mentioned not here the whole year, but logging the most bullpen innings to date. And there again, the changeup, downward movement. It looks like the fastball out of the hand just doesn't get there and runs out of the zone. 42 innings now out of the pen for AJ.
Colton Wong came in the game mid at bat when Matt Carpenter on a check swing injured his right oblique. This is back in the third inning. Carpenter, the lone all-star for the Cardinals, just like that. He's had that situation before 4 years ago. Kept him out a month. The Cardinals have placed, if Carpenter ends up going on the DL, that will be 4 guys on the DL this week for the Cardinals, and that doesn't include Johnny Peralta, who's not available tonight. He has a thumb concern that has been re-aggravated. Changeup just gets outs. Easy 1-2-3 inning for AJ Schugel. And the Pirates down a run as we go to the 7th. Cardinals. Pirates coming back with a couple in the 6th.
Jonathan Broxton, 3.51 ERA. Opponents only hit 181 against him. Not a lot of strikeouts for a guy that can get it up there, mid-upper 90s. A guy the Pirates have had some success against in recent years.
He's done better lately, but there was a stretch for about 3 years there where in his time with the Reds and the Brewers that Pirates would score off him every time that they faced him. Mercer 0 for 3 tonight. A little bit better weather this evening. Still shorts weather. It was 90 at game time last night. There's storms through the area today. Well, first time since the 3rd the Cardinals retired the Pirates leadoff man. David Freese got the Pirates in the lead, extending his hitting streak to 8 games with a home run on the first pitch back of the 1st.
There goes that borderline pitch again. Another one off the plate.
Freese was called out on strikes his last time up. Pirates have been called out on strikes 3 times tonight. Cardinals once.
Sliders here to David Freese. Looks like Molina called for another.
Good reaction by the bat boy there. Is right in its path. Caromed off the netting.
Saw that last night from David Freese as well. Let it go. Good footwork by the bat boy though, getting out of the way.
Played the carom nicely. And there's ball 5. Look at our Nissan road ahead, and Tyler Glasnow making his major league debut tomorrow. Will oppose Adam Wainwright of the Cardinals. And so Glasnow, with that sensational season in Indianapolis, the walk's still up there, but he has been unhittable. One of the best strikeout artists in all of the minor leagues, and happy to be here. It was exciting to see him come through the clubhouse this afternoon. He was almost moved to tears, he said, when he saw Tyone and Cool and some of the guys that have been his teammates all through the minors, all these guys working for years for this opportunity, all coming up right about at the same time.
Makes it so much easier when young guys have people that they can hang out with that know they know very well. It makes it much more comfortable in the big league clubhouse.
Glasnow not in uniform today, expected to start tomorrow. He'll be added to the roster. The Pirates will make a move at that time. Just getting his stuff here. Ione and Cervelli. Everyone loves Raymond.
Every now and again, we saw him last night's game. He timed up a couple of Mike Leake fastballs, hit him hard. That Broxton fastball caught a lot of plate, and Andrew unable to make contact. That's when you know he's off.
What do you make of the 2 walks tonight?
Well, the one was 4 pitches that weren't close to the plate, and that was in the 4th. And the 6th, pretty much the same thing. They were a little closer, but yeah, it wasn't like, it looked like Garcia was pitching around them.
That one cracked toward the gap. Freeze around second. Will this tie it? Well, he'll be held at third, as a really nice play by Grichuk to get to that ball. That keeps David Freese at third with 1 out.
And this pitch, a similar pitch in terms of location, again catches a lot of plate, but a breaking ball. The slider from Broxton left up out over the plate, outer third, about thigh high, and Andrew McCutchen hits it right on the button. Thought it was headed towards the wall. Grichuk able to get it in quickly.
Gung, who has struck out twice, walked his last time up. Tying run at third with 1 out. Pirates bidding for another come from behind win. They have come from behind in 5 straight games. This, however, would be their largest come from behind win of the season if they could secure it. They have not battled back from 4 runs down at any point.
Good breaking ball there. Good location, keeping it down and away. See, the first one just missed off. This one bottom of the zone. Broxton try to keep it down to try to get the ground ball. Thought off the bat that Andrew McCutchen would be on second, but the double play is still in order. Beautiful.
And this one is down for a hit. Freese is in with the tying run. McCutchen racing around third. Here's the throw, and it hits the bat. McCutchen is in, and the Pirates have come all the way back to take the lead. A 2-run double for Gung. He'll take third on the throw, and the Pirates down 4 have the lead again. Wow!
Boy, what an adjustment by Jung Ho Gung, who has been struggling at the plate. Another slider, pretty much the same place as the last one, but this time almost like he's looking for it down and away. Stays back, stays inside, splits that gap perfectly. Andrew McCutchen off a little bit late, was kind of anchored there at first for a moment, but still has that great speed and able to come all the way around.
This is incredible and inspirational. Down 4. Now up a run and a strike to Marte. Now watch McCutchen just busting it. As soon as he realizes it's down, full tilt. There was no thought of stopping at third. He would have scored even if it didn't hit the bat, but that helps. And that hustle giving the Pirates the lead.
Now Broxton all of a sudden, I'm sure, upset with himself, being a little more aggressive. First 2 pitches in off the plate to Marte, and Starling swings swings at both to get inside in the hole here. 0-2.
And the pitch. 1-2. Bowman on 2 inherited runners to score in the 6th.
Another foul ball, another pitch in off the plate. Bowman allowed the 2 runners he inherited to score. You never know if Garcia comes in throwing strikes in the top of the 6th inning with the 5-2 lead. Bowman might not even be in the game. You know, I mean, Garcia goes through the 6th perhaps, but to me those were that's 2 huge at bats right there. Those 2 walks leading off the 6th to McCutchen and Gung.
That really changed the whole course of how Matheny's using the bullpen.
Yep.
Infield in with 1 out. Gung at 3rd. And did he go? Yep. Dan Isonia rings him up.
I don't think Starling Marte, there you see it, he did not see a strike the entire at bat, and that one way up and in.
Now the infield can back up. Fly ball does not yield a run here with 2 outs. Harrison has to come through with a big 2-out hit. He has done that time and time again. Came through with an RBI single with 1 out in the 6th inning. But with 2 outs and a runner in scoring position, 341 this year. And ahead in the count 2-0. Feliz was just loosening. Schugel's spot not up for a moment, but now that the Pirates have taken the lead. Now 2-1. Pirates have come back from 4 runs down. Broxton against the Pirates in his career, it has not gone well, as Rock pointed out. And the juggle is going to cost the Cardinals a run. Gung is in at 7-5 Buccos.
I don't know how they're going to score this, but who cares? That's a big insurance run. And Jay Hay just puts it in play, and that's a tough play for Diaz there. He's going to have to make the play off balance. And with Jay Hay, as he always does, hustling down the line, forces the unforced error.
It'll be an error on Diaz. No run batted in, but as you said, Rock, who cares? The run is across. 3 more here in the 7th. The Pirates build a 2-run lead. And now Rodriguez has driven in a pair tonight, a homer and a single. Wow, what a comeback again. If the Pirates can hold on tonight, they haven't done this, which would be 6 straight come from behind wins in 33 years. Elias brings us that stat. Diaz, the rookie, with 15 errors in about half a season of ball. To compare, Mercer has 4 for the Pirates.
love about Josh Harrison. I mean, he runs hard every ball he hits. It forces defenders to rush things.
I mean, yeah, you could say that just him getting out of the box that fast, just enough to cause Diaz to juggle it there.
And everybody full.
In the Charleston or something. What was, I don't know what he was doing over there, but that was a nice move. Pirates have scored 3 times here in the 7th. Coming from down 4 runs to take the lead. Harrison running. Hit deep toward the corner, but Piscotty with room. These comeback Pirates have taken another lead here tonight in St. Louis. Did they do it? The Pirates coming from 4 runs down when Sean Rodriguez homering to lead off the 5th inning. And then in the 6th, Josh Harrison poking that base hit after a couple of leadoff walks. Rodriguez at it again with his 2nd run batted into the 9th. And then in the 7th, the Pirates striking for 3. And Jung Ho Kang, the first 2, the tying and go-ahead runs coming in on his double. He would score on the error by Diaz. The Pirates have come from their largest deficit of the season to overcome to take the lead 7-5 against the Cardinals, trying to win their 7th in a row.
Up to the bullpen that's been very, very stingy, and Tale Feliz 2-0, 2.84 ERA, holding opponents to just a 189 batting average, 35 punch-outs in 31 2/3.
So Diaz, who committed that error, he's 3 for 3 tonight with 2 runs batted in. He's homered and singled twice. Holiday and Piscotty to follow. And the bullpen stingy indeed. Schugel a 1-2-3 6th. Feliz got the day off yesterday, picked up his first save of the season back on Monday. Ray Searage has got to be happy that his bullpen has pitched so well, and because they've pitched well here tonight, as they have over the last couple of weeks, this is the kind of game where it enables a team to come from behind, and sure enough, the Pirates have continued to do that every game this week.
The only thing about this, though, is that we've had to go to the bullpen so often because we still aren't getting our starters very deep in the ball game, and so these guys have been working an awful lot. Yes, it's awesome, the winning streak, and to have such a good stretch run here, but you know, our back end guys, when you win more, you use them more and they get less rest.
Now the good thing has been, there's Kyle Lobstein just called up today, took the place of Stephen Brault on the roster, so the Pirates have another man in the bullpen. But the one good thing is we're seeing so many different contributors that if you need 3 guys one night, you can go with a different 3 the next night, or you know, something like that. And that has helped, because you're right, you know, if you got starters going 5, there's Caminero who's pitched well. And if you got starters going 5 tonight, 4 for Locke, last night 4 for Brault, that's going to catch up with you even if you do have 5 or 6 guys pitching well. And he struck him out. Great slider from Feliz. And it's not just him, it's been pretty much everybody. Of course, Melanson's doing his thing, but the guys leading up to him, Nicasio, since he's gone to the bullpen, has given up just 1 run. And then this stretch of the last, what, 2 weeks, Feliz has not given up a run. Schugel, no runs. Watson, no runs. Caminero, no runs. Pirates bullpen overall 1 run over its last 42 2/3 innings. 1 run.
That's an impressive stretch.
And you saw in that graphic there, Caminero, no walks. For a guy whose control had lost him, talking with him today at length about that, and he said, you know, I just wanted to get confident. Went down to the minor leagues, decided to throw hard again, not trying to spot the ball. And everything has fallen into place. He's gotten gradually better and better since coming off the DL. And lately, lights out.
And what you notice from Caminero, he looks like he's throwing easier. I mean, it just looks so smooth and effortless, and it's jumping out of his hand.
And he was hitting 101 with regularity last night for strikes. Feliz has visited that department in his career too. That went at a measly 97. Matt Holliday's not having a lot of fun with Lance Barrett tonight. That's close-ish, you know, borderline. Barrett has tightened it up a little bit last few innings, but earlier tonight it was a wide zone. As wide as the Mississippi, one would think. And neither starting pitcher, as you pointed out, Rock, really took advantage of that.
No, I mean, I didn't think so. Man there.
Harrison almost made that play. May have played himself into an error. That was tough to even just range to get that ball.
An accurate throw would have gotten Holliday, but that's got to be a base hit. I mean, as far as he ranged to his right, you know.
I thought that was going to go in the center, but
yeah, having to throw it on the run.
And will be a base hit. And that's a good call. Scotty 1 out of 3 tonight. Pirates lead is 2. A pop-up on the first pitch. Up toward right. Outfielder gets the call. These Pirates have come from 4 runs down and have taken a 2-run lead here in the 7th. This is just downright inspirational. I said that earlier, and it's fun to watch. You know, Clint Hurdle has continued to just tell the guys the same thing. Go out there and grind. Continue to do what you do. And look, you know, 2 weeks ago, looking at this team thinking, all right, are they going to be sellers at the trade deadline? That was a question. It wasn't for sure, but it was a question. And now that's so far in the rearview mirror. I mean, the Pirates still very much have their work cut out for them. They're 2.5 out of the wild card coming into play today. There's still 3 teams ahead of them for that second wild card, but with plenty of time to play. At least they played themselves right very much back into the thick of things.
I think that they're buying and selling in the end of June is a little too soon to even talk about it. There's so much baseball left to be played, and even when the Pirates were struggling, they were still well within reach of being in the wild card race.
But they needed a stretch like this, and how to do it coming from behind night after night after night. It's inspiring. These guys have not quit, not in the slightest. And a chance, if they can come back and hold on and beat these Cardinals tonight, the Pirates would slide ahead of St. Louis. The Cardinals are reeling. They have sustained numerous injuries, including another one tonight with Matt Carpenter going down. But the Cardinals, you would not believe this. I did not realize that the Cardinals are 7 games under 500 here at home.
Yeah, they've been having a rough time of it here.
And against teams that aren't the Brewers and the Reds, they're 11-23 here in St. Louis. And you just wouldn't think that from these Cardinals. This has been an impenetrable fortress for so long. But the Pirates have had their share of injuries too. There's certainly no sympathy extended on either side.
The thing with the Pirates, though, it's been the pitching. I mean, you point right at the pitching when it comes to this run that they've made and how they've turned things around here in the last week.
Cardinals general manager John Mozeliak, who has had some challenges, but the Pirates have too, and they have risen to the occasion. Molina, devoid of that good power now, sends that weakly out to right. And so the hit left stranded, and the Pirates take a 2-run lead into the 8th. The Pirates wrapping up this 4-game series against the Cardinals. A matinee tomorrow. Tyler Glasnow making his major league debut. Scheduled to get the start tomorrow. And our coverage begins at 1 with Pirates pregame. Presented by W.B. Mason right here on Root Sports. Excited to see the hard-throwing Californian, who has been virtually unhittable in the minor leagues. See him test his wares against these Cardinals tomorrow. But here, first things first, Pirates trying to come from behind again and win. Up 7-5 here in the 8th.
Well, the new Cardinals right-hander, 3rd appearance, just an inning of work.
Sam Tuivailala. Hey, at least Bob said last night, he said Sam. You could have got at least Sam on that, right?
Well, they might not know who I was talking about if I said Sam. I mean, there's only one right-hander in the game right now, and I think that's a more accurate description than Sam.
Well done. Eric Fryer batting for the first time against number 64. Guy with the red cap. And another base hit for Eric Fryer. Eric Fryer last night in his first game this time around with the Pirates, 2 out of 4 with 3 runs batted in. Let go by the Cardinals a couple weeks ago, or a week ago really. A base hit here. So the Pirates now out of position players. There's Brian Pena, who hit the DL today. I bet you the Cardinals wish they had Eric Fryer back. Pirates glad they have him.
Almost hitting 400. Small sample size, 395 now for Fryer.
John Jaso pinch hitting for Feliz. Jaso 1 out of 7 as a pinch hitter. His overall numbers at 273. Tuivailala out of San Mateo, California. And now Tony Watson up next to try to protect the Pirates lead. Maybe they can add to it here in the 8th.
2 pitches on the edges up in the zone.
Tuivailala, a pretty hard thrower. He'll get up into those upper 90s. Fryer not a threat to run, but a pretty decent runner at first. He's not your normal lumbering catcher. He can get around pretty decent. First to third, a base hit type thing.
He's at least an average runner, I would say.
Broke his bat and limited to just 1 play at first. So a runner in scoring position and a couple of chances for Mercer and then for Freese. Jordy Joe Mercer tonight 0 for 4. Seven-5 Pirates. They've come from 4 runs down. Rick Schofield ready to get that arm a-moving. Down the line line and twisting foul.
One of the rare nights that Jordy's been in that leadoff spot. He's come up empty to this point.
Makes you feel like he's due, right?
Yeah, I mean, he's been incredibly consistent out of that leadoff spot, drawing his walks, getting his hits.
.392 on base percentage as the leadoff hitter this year, and hitting .314 in that role. Leads off against lefties. Cardinals starter Jaime Garcia gave up 4 runs in 5+. And Jonathan Broxton allowed the Pirates to retake the lead. There's Freese next. He's homered tonight. His first at bat, walked his last time around. Outfield shifted for Mercer quite a bit, with Grichuk playing over toward right center. And Holiday off the line and left. So the gap ends up being almost center field, just to the left of center there. Trying to close that right center field gap a bit. And he hit it right toward it, but hung it up there. And that's the second out. Right idea for Mercer. Now a 2-out chance coming up for David Freese. I feel a lot better with that, just that extra run.
Yeah, it's got too much air under it.
Fryer led off the inning with a base hit.
David took that almost like
ready to hear a strike call.
Yeah. Hold your breath.
He and Matt Holliday have not enjoyed Lance Barrett tonight. And to be fair to Barrett, it's especially earlier tonight, it was a wide strike zone on both sides. And 3 wide ones with Andrew McCutchen out on deck. He'd love to get another chance. He's been on base 3 times tonight. We're in the 8th. Pirates have scored in each of the last 3 innings to take the lead. Tuivailala delivers. Now it's full.
See what a 3-1 pitch is. Just catching the edge.
And now he'll draw the walk. Second time he's been aboard on a base on balls. And 2 men on with 2 outs. Andrew McCutchen coming up. These Pirates have just grinded away. Really, since that 4th inning, they didn't score in the 4th, but they put 2 men aboard. And have in each of the last 5 innings, including this one. At least 2. And on a night where Jeff Locke gave up 5 runs in 4 innings, the bullpen has shut down the opposition. And the bats have brought the Bucks back.
This would be a great time for Andrew McCutchen to hit another gap.
Got him pretty much straight up. He was trying. See.
Fastball up in the zone.
Ball one was in the zone. So we got a little break there.
And he struggled a little bit in these situations, the RBI situations.
Now runners in scoring position with 2 outs, hitting at 111 coming into tonight.
32 RBIs on the year. He's driven himself in 12 times.
Well, here's a big chance. You know, you got a 2-run lead in the 8th. Might be enough, but you can definitely make it enough. Gets the right pitch from Tuivailala, who has already thrown 25 pitches here in this 8th inning. Another 1-2. Keeps spoiling them. Warm night. Starting to labor a bit. Fryer, the lead runner at second. Freeze on at first. And he struck him out. 2 left on for the Buccos. And Tony Watson coming on for the last half. And the Night Sweats coming to Stage AE on the 26th here in St. Louis. Pirates have stormed back to take a 7-5 lead. Here in the bottom of the 8th, they'll turn it over to Tony Watson.
37th appearance, 1-2, 3 an even 3 earned run average for Tony.
Grichuk, Jerko, Garcia due up for St. Louis. And if it gets to the pitcher spot, due up 4th in this inning, they pretty much have only Tommy Pham available, as they called up a catcher today to back up Yadier Molina. He's He's in the mix. Alberto Rosario. Peralta not available tonight. Still banged up. There's Peralta. Hoping to play tomorrow, but if he's not available today, that's doubtful. Thumb concern that has bothered him throughout the year. Kept him out most of this season. Now 2-2. Watson pitched a 1-2-3 eighth inning last night. Needed just 12 pitches.
That's fastball.
That's
95.
Yeah, the velocity up a little bit on this nice warm night. Easy to work.
I mean, that was fairly common from Tony Watson, throwing 94, 95.
That one will get out of play.
Follows that up with a changeup at 86. But the pitching, velocity-wise, maybe down a hair from years past, but he's averaging 93 miles per hour on his fastball. But I mean, I think he's grown so much more and more confident and comfortable with the changeup, the slider. When he first came up, it seemed like it was challenged with a fastball. Guys had a hard time getting on top of it. It has that late finish, late life, some deception. After a couple of years, players gear up for it, make the adjustment, and that's when he starts pulling the change. Throwing the change up, the slider. Good location with those pitches as well.
Fouls off 4 in a row.
I was impressed with Tony the other day in Oakland. I think I want to say faced 4 or 5 batters, and he started every one of them off with something off speed for strikes.
Richick has seen 8 pitches in this at bat. What does Fryer want here? Broke his bat. Who can get it? Rodriguez is there. And so the leadoff man gone in the 8th. Bring the whole family this Sunday for a Kids Day. The Pirates hosting the Cubs at 1:35. All kids 14 and younger receiving Francisco Cervelli wall decals. Presented by Allegheny Health Network. And you can go to Pirates.com, get your tickets coming out, and see some great baseball with the Pirates trying to take down the first place Cubs, who lost again today. There's Cervelli, who's making some progress, getting closer to coming back. Cervelli participating in a simulated game, taking some batting practice, catching, getting a lot closer. One man gone in the 8th. Pops up Jerko. Will this go into the seats? Yeah. Well, the Pirates trying to bid for their 7th consecutive win. And in their last 5, they have come from behind. They have come from behind tonight. Down 4 runs after 4 innings. It would be their largest come from behind win of the season. And it would be the first time in 33 years the Pirates have come from behind in 6 consecutive games to win. Thanks to Elias for that. Harrison with the run scoring hit tonight. Marte Marte was playing deep, but plenty of time to get underneath it.
Tony Watson unable to throw that changeup. Both of those fly balls off the changeup. Balls hit off the end of the bat.
Greg Garcia singled back in the 4th. Pirates up a pair in the 8th. Pirates would leapfrog these Cardinals with a win tonight. Move back into 2nd place for the first time in almost a month. This one gets out of play. Oh. In the Cardinals bullpen. Oh, 2. Mercer gets the final out, and Tony Watson at tidy 1, 2, 3, 8th. 9th coming up with the Pirates leading by 2.
Louis, where tomorrow Tyler Glasnow makes his big league debut, and earlier he was asked the first phone call he made after he found out.
Mom, my dad answered, and I told him, and I don't think it didn't register right away with him, and he was like, yeah, so I'm just, I don't know, wondering when you're gonna go up, and I was like, I just told you, and he was like, oh my God, and then told my mom, and called my brother and my girlfriend, and everyone was really emotional, and honestly, looking back, it's all kind of like a mushy. I woke up and did it all in a matter of like a couple minutes.
And they are all en route from Southern California. Should be a big contingent, similar to what we saw last night for Stephen Brault's big league debut. And you know what that means, Joe and John. That means we're going to hunt down Ted and Donna Glasnow, Tyler's parents, and get a few words with them on their son's debut.
That'll be fun. Looking forward to that tomorrow. Glasnow making his big league debut against these Cardinals, and now Seung-Hwan Oh.
Pretty good numbers. 163 opponent's average, a 171 ERA.
These two facing each other for years in the Korean baseball organization, and Oh gets the better of Gung. And so with Glasnow scheduled to start tomorrow, a lot of fans on some Point Park tweets, and Troy congratulating Tyler, be part of the festivities tomorrow. Stoked, Zach is stoked for it, sure. And Nick wishing Tyler some good luck as well, out of Hart High School. And Scott Bonnet, Bones, clubhouse manager for the Pirates. All those uniforms that have to get put together usually on a moment's notice. Today he was scrambling around trying to find a cap and all sorts of things for Glasnow. Good thing Glasnow brought his size 16 shoes with him. Those would have been hard to locate. From O. They called him the final boss, and has moved into unofficially the closer role, but pitching trailing. That is a fair foul ball. It was both.
Yeah, that thing off the end of the bat kept spinning.
We've seen a few of those kind of spin back and actually spin back into play.
Usually when they start heading towards the field of play, and when it starts heading left, it continues. I don't know, maybe hit something to kick back right.
Yeah, but how strange was that last night to watch Rosenthal kind of just mopping up
and not doing that well. You know, he pitched 2 scoreless innings, but kind of worked around some hitters. Rosenthal and Melanson, you know, coming into this season, you go, okay, who's the best guys in the National League, you know, closing games the last couple of years, and you put those guys right there 1-2, and Melanson's getting up, the All-Star. Rosenthal is trying to find his way out of the 9th inning for now. Cardinals have some issues, not just the injuries. That's called strike 3.
Another frustrated batter.
There's no more position players left for the Pirates available. You can't get tossed here, so you just gotta walk back. Don't want a pitcher play in the field in the 9th.
And a little slider it looked like, and once again off the plate.
Lance Barrett has been consistent tonight. Pirates have had 4 men called out on strikes. Cardinals 1. Hangs up there for Grichuk. Pirates down in order, and Mark Melanson, the All-Star, coming on to try to close it.
Party of the Pittsburgh Pirates and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Pittsburgh Pirates.
Here we go, bottom of the 9th inning, and the Pirates have stormed back down 4 runs after 4, now leading by 2 in the 9th. And who else would you want on the mound right now than Mark Melancon?
One of the best. Mark Melancon. Boy, it's hard, you know, as a closer, I think, to be named to the All-Star team 3 out of 4 years. I mean, that's pretty impressive stuff. And Mark Melancon, I don't know if he gets the national attention he deserves. Looking for his 26th save, his 27th opportunity. The ERA always in the ones, the opponent average always way down there. As consistent as anybody.
How about the Cardinals playing Thunderstruck between innings as Melancon comes out? That's the music he comes out to at home, so gives him all the comfort he needs to come out on the road and try to close it out. He'll start against the pinch hitter Tommy Pham, batting for O. Start the 9th. It's a challenging play over there for the new first baseman Freese.
Playing in a little bit, and this cutter goes off the end of Pham's bat, and a lot of spin, a lot of English, and a tough little hop for David Freese.
And the official scorer makes that a base hit. It was not routine. Now the Cardinals will bring the tying run to the plate, and the person of Wong, who's 1 for 3 tonight, has hit a bunt single. And a little bloop into left. Marte comes on for out number 1. Don't forget, vote Marte. You can text N4 to 89269, or Pirates have a ticket offer for you as well. If you go to pirates.com/vote, try to get Starling Marte into the All-Star game. Part of the final vote. One out in the 9th. Aledmys Diaz, 3 out of 4. He's driven in a pair. He's homered tonight. Also made a critical error in the 7th and allowed the Pirates to add a run. Get into the netting. They extended the net out just a little bit more in the offseason, and may have helped right there. 2 strikes on Diaz with Holiday waiting on deck. Pham at first with 1 out in the 9th. Foul ball.
Mark staying with the cutter. That big curveball to go to as well, which he likes to throw up there when he's ahead in the count. Try to get the swing and miss.
Melancon, the last 3 seasons in baseball, more saves than anybody, and the best percentage as well. Oh-2. He struck him out. Out number 2 here in the 9th.
You don't see that very often from Mark Melancon, going upstairs. The cutter, he usually keeps it down and in and out. And just missed with the location, but got the result you want. Above the zone in the chase.
Two outs in the ninth. Pirates trying for their 7th straight win. And trying to leapfrog the Cardinals. Matt Holliday singled his last time up. An infield hit. Almost hit him. Tommy Pham with a pinch hit infield single. He's on at first with 2 away. And strike call.
Well, Matt Holliday's been unhappy with the strike zone like a lot of other hitters, and once again a pitch out of the zone.
Lance Barrett's not going to get a Holiday card this year. Now 2-1.
Tried the front door of that cutter. Started off, get it over that inside corner.
The Pirates an out away from victory. Now 3-1. If Holiday gets aboard, Stephen Piscotty would represent the winning run at the plate. Pham aboard at first. (3-1) and right to Harrison, and the Pirates have won 7 in a row. Their largest come from behind win of the season, and for the 6th straight time they've battled back to come back and win. And Elias tells us that's the first time since 1983 that the Pirates have won 6 straight games coming from behind. And Rock, after being down 4 in 4 innings, just inspirational today the way the Pirates have done this.
It's hard to win in the major leagues when you fall behind, especially against a team like these Cardinals, and you're down 5-1, and it's improbable. You just, I mean, the previous